Hey YouTubers, this is Donnie here. This is my first attempt at actually making videos for YouTube. What I want to demonstrate is some of the different methods I've used throughout the years, pretty much my evolution into sharpening. When I was a young boy, teenager, my dad, he pretty much taught me how to sharpen, basically using a bench stone. And I got to the point where I was getting pretty good. There were times where I would be able to get a knife to where it would shave hairs off arms, and I was pretty proud of myself. And throughout the years, just through trial and error, just using different types of stones. This is a translucent Arkansas stone. Here's another small little pocket Arkansas soft. Stuff my dad has given me. This is an easy lap diamond, and pretty much use this in the field for when we went hunting, fishing, camping, whatever. And they serve their purposes. Also, I've collected numerous stones, just hard or coarse, medium, fine stones throughout the years. Just recently I found this cheap diamond stone, I guess you can call them, or hone, and it goes from 200, 300, 400, 600, and just depending on how well you want your knife, how sharp you want it, it takes time to get used to. And one problem for me is getting the right angle. And a lot of knives from the factory, they have different angles on their blades. This one my dad actually gave me, and just using a bench stone. It's not shiny or anything. It's nothing spectacular, but it's sharp. This Benchmade, I purchased this, as a hunting knife, just to wear on my belt, and from the factory it came sharp, and just using soft Arkansas, I got a little bit sharper. Like I said, it's not really shiny or anything. I haven't really done anything to it lately, but it does the job. Probably one of the first knives I purchased after I left home and joined the military, was actually in the Army, was this Gerber Gator. And just, it's got serrations, and then the smooth part at the tip, and it's pretty much was my all-purpose utility knife. I took it with me everywhere. Took it to the field. When we got deployed to different parts of the world, this is pretty much the knife that went with me. But like I said, during that time I was using bench stones, pocket stones, whatever I had available to me. And then, I don't know, I want to say about 10 years ago, I found this little kit. Purchased it on sale, probably thinking it was like 40 bucks. And I thought it was the bee's knees. I was able to get pretty much any knife I had, clamp it into this little system, this little clamp system here. Just like so. Make sure it's nice and tight and secure in there. And it comes with these rods. So basically, depending on what type of sharpening and how, I guess you could say, how bad your blade needs it, you go from a coarse diamond. I don't know if you can really see that. If it'll, there we go. From a coarse diamond, fine diamond, soft Arkansas, and this stone I really haven't used that much, but it's for serrations in your knife. But basically, depending on the angles, you just feed your rod into the little holder and run the stone over your blade like this. But like I said earlier, not all blades have the same angle from the factory. Excuse me, I'm a little under the weather, but getting over it. So after years of doing this, it served its purpose, and I got pretty good at using it. And there were times where I can get a blade to shine. Nothing, spectacular. It would be, shiny, and everybody would be like pretty amazed on how sharp and how shiny I can get a knife. But a few weeks ago, at a party my dad held for Christmas, after Christmas party, he took out one of his knives, and the blade had a mirror finish on it, and I had never really noticed it, or I don't know, paid attention, but I was really shocked and amazed at how sharp and how it was pretty, how pretty his knife looked. And so, after asking him different questions on how he did and everything, he purchased some type of belt sander, and he swears by it. He said that, pretty much it's quick and it's easy, and it does for him what he needs it to do, and that's awesome. So that night after we got home, I went ahead and started looking online at belt sanders, and got onto eBay and started looking around, and then I started noticing all these different types of high-end sharpening systems. Well, I really didn't want to spend the money, and I went ahead and purchased this. This is supposedly is China's version of I can't remember the name of it, Edge Pro or something like that. But this is a Ruxin Pro. I don't know if you could see the name on there. It's barely visible right here. But it's a Ruxin Pro, and the reason why I went with this model is because, it's, first of all, it's pretty. It's all stainless steel. And to me, when I see something stainless steel, and to me it says durability. So I ordered it, and all excited, I went ahead and the original set comes with like 5 basic stones, and so along with this I ordered an additional 6 stones, ranging from, let's see here, from 120 grit all the way up to 3,000. And I also ordered these 3 diamond stones for the system, and they are similar to the Edge Pro system. Probably, I've never really seen an Edge Pro or used one. Just what I've seen on eBay and online. But it pretty much is the same, guess you can say, type of sharpening system. For this one, this model right here, it does have a way where you can, this little piece of metal here, you just loosen this up, adjust the bottom little plate to how far you want your knife to stick out, and then you clamp it in place by this second plate, and it's got this little funky, I guess you could say it's like an elevation tool, and pretty much based on how thick your knife is, you adjust your little elevation tool forward or backwards and then tighten this down. These are all actually these little bolts that I have on here now. I purchased aftermarket because the stuff that they sent is cheap. Like I said, I got really excited. I got the fever, started buying stuff for it. I even made this little, I got a cutting board that I found at a store on clearance for like under 10 bucks. And I got my router out and I started routing little grooves into it. Made a little, I guess you could say a little hardware, little spot here for tape and oils and stuff like that. And I even mounted it on here. Before I even used it, I mounted it. And just noticing out of the box, this right here was really loose, so I tightened it, and this little rotating, I guess you could say, mechanism right here, it had a lot of play in it, so I had to go through excuse me, different thicknesses of, I guess, washers and felt washers and everything. I just found a piece of plastic and got it nice and tight and snug. I even went and found a upgraded handle for it, and it works. I mean, it works really well for what it is and how much it costs. I think I paid like 24 bucks for it. The additional stones, the 6 stone set that I purchased ran another 8 bucks, and I found some place here in the States that would ship it to me right away. And then the diamond stones ran me another like 8 bucks. So, you know, I'm into this little cheap Chinese system for, oh, I don't know, a little over 40 bucks. And after receiving all, you know, my stones and the system and everything, and all excited, I took out one of my kitchen knives and sharpened it and got it nice and super sharp. I mean, everyone was amazed. I wasn't too worried about the polish finish on the edge, but you could tell there was a good polished edge on there. And then after watching several videos on stropping and different methods and different types of stropping compounds, I went ahead and went to Home Depot and got some paint sticks. So sorry for the little break in the I had a call from my doctor. I'm a little bit under the weather right now, so he just called to give me a few little recommendations. But anyway, back to this Ruxin Pro. So after sharpening my kitchen knives, I mean, it did beautifully. I was actually got into the little strops. I went to Home Depot and got some paint stir sticks, and then I went to Tandy Leather and got some scrap leather and glued some leather to some paint sticks, and what's on there right now is a green compound. But I was able to pretty much fabricate a stropping stick for this system right here. And my first attempt at sharpening one of my knives, I got one of my older ones, the Gerber Gator, and went through the system, through the stones and everything. And one thing that was kind of a nuisance was having to unscrew this little clamping system every time I had to change angles. So I would take my knife, clamp it in, go through the process of working up through my grits and grinding away at my knife, and then taking it out, flipping it over, and just doing that repeatedly. And after doing that so many times, the hardware that came with the system, well, it's pretty cheap. I mean, it's a soft metal, and the screws and the little bolt mechanism here are stripped. So I was unable to tighten anything down with it, and it just wasn't stable. I guess I want to say safe. So I was a little upset that my new little system here wasn't all that I thought it would be. And I even jumped the gun and ordered me a nice set of sharpening stones for this system. I mean, to me, I got a $60 set from China. That's all. It's en route right now. But it's a nice set, ranging all the way from, I think it was 200 all the way up to 10,000 grit. So anyway, after replacing the hardware and noticing that this retaining little plate here, after bolting it down so many times and just different knife thicknesses and whatnot, it started to bow on me. And this is actually, I don't know if it'll get the bow there, but this is actually a lot better than what it was. I mean, this thing was pretty much had a nice little bow in it, and I was able to pound it down to where it is now. But I don't know, got me frustrated, so I started looking at other things I could do to modify this, and started taking measurements and angles, and one of the things I thought I was going to do was take my little Smith sharpening system with the clamping mechanism and try to figure out a way to this doesn't need to be together, to mount that onto my board. And after taking a look at some of the nicer systems out there, I had an idea of maybe coming up with some type of turning mechanism to where I could take this clamp and mount it here on the board to where I could just turn it, something like the KME. So after a couple days of coming up with different ideas and whatnot, my wonderful wife noticed I was frustrated, and she asked me what I was doing, and she was asking me different questions about the system and if there was something else out there, and I told her yes, and it just happened to be around Valentine's Day, and she's like, well, why don't you go get what you want for Valentine's Day? And at the time, looking, and by the way, during this whole time I was checking out videos on YouTube, and let me tell you what, these guys from, let's see here, Dino, his videos on the KME system, Matt of Knife Crazy, the guys at KME Sharpeners and the knife guy, you know, just going through the different methods and tutorials on how to use a KME, pretty much got me sold on the whole KME system. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. I'll probably just end up putting it in a box and storing it or throwing it away. I don't know. But I went ahead. Excuse me. I found some place local, and there aren't that many. But I did find a place here in town that had this KME system with the 4 stones. It goes from the progression of the 60 grit, 120, 320, and the 1000 grit Arkansas stone. I also got the Arkansas translucent and the Arkansas black. But this system is awesome. After, you know, playing with it a little bit here and there, and watching all the instructional videos from Dano and the knife crazy Matt from Knife Crazy, I've been able to do a lot with the system. Oh, and this little diamond rod came with the little Smith sharpening system too. So just, I got this maybe a couple days ago, and just I guess you want to say the learning curve on this is really, really quick and easy, and there's no, I guess you could say, guesswork on how to use this system. It is so easy once you get everything all set up. Now this system here that I got, you know, I purchased the base separately, but for me, working on you know, work table or bench is something that I had to have. And let's see, I mean, this little guided rod system and the little silicone, how you want to say, little swivel here is just awesome. Excuse me. So I'm not, you know, a pro at this yet. I still have, you know, a lot of learning to do with different, you know, angles of knife blades, and like I said, this is probably this is my first knife I got when I was in the Army, and it's beat up. It's got a lot of scratches on the blade, but I took it through the system, went from the 60 grit all the way up to the Arkansas black, and I even went ahead and cut down my strops that I had. And I do have 3 different strops this size, and I label them 1, 2, and 3. Basically, this is a white compound right here on this strop, green compound, and this one is just has no grit in it. It's just pretty much a polish. But for my first time sharpening a knife on the KME system, I mean, let's see, I don't know if you can see the reflection, but there's almost no scratches on there after going through what, you know, I was able to purchase with the translucents and put together on my own with the strops. Well, me being a do-it-yourselfer, going to Home Depot, I went ahead and purchased some aluminum, I could just say a bar or strip aluminum, and cut them down to 4-inch pieces. Again, went over to Tandy Leather and bought some leather and mounted and made my own strops for the KME. And so far, I really don't want to put any of the compound on there. because I also was able to find a retailer that retails diamond paste, and I was able to get 7 diamond paste for just under 20 bucks, and I'm actually waiting to receive those. They should be coming any day now. But just looking at how well the leather fits together, I mean, it fits on there almost perfectly. I mean, if I need to, I'll just go ahead, and I've got some more leather. I can just cut out some more 4-inch strips and maybe make another level. But let me tell you what, this system is awesome. And like I said, I'm still learning, and thanks to the expertise of Dano and the guys from KME Sharp, that, you know, they have their videos up on YouTube, and, you know, I'm learning, and thank you guys for all the excellent tips and recommendations on how to, you know, mark your knives for the proper angle, and utilizing this system. I don't know where I'd be without you guys, because this thing is awesome. And just, you know, at this point in time, I'm in between jobs right now and kind of waiting on a medical hold to be lifted, and this pretty much is got me, I guess you could say, I got the fever. And the only thing right now is just one thing I do want to get for this system is the diamond sharpening hones. Now, I know KME makes their own sharpening hones, and I've been looking, you know, through the internet, and those the diamond hones from KME just look awesome, and they do an awesome job. But right at this point, you know, a little strapped for cash, trying to find another alternative. And I did see on the KME website and through eBay, there are, I guess you could say, there's a brand called DMT, and there's, I guess, a cheap Chinese brand called DMD. And I really haven't used anything but this big old block here. So if anybody has any recommendations or has actually used the DMT stones, let me know. If I'm jumping the gun and trying and rushing into things, let me know too. You know, leave it in the comment section. You know, like I said, this is my first video, so please help out. Like I said, I'm a noob at this whole sharpening system thing, and like I said, this KME sharpener is awesome. I mean, there's no way that my dad's blades, just with what I've got here, look anything close to how shiny these have come out. So again, thanks Dano, Matt from Knife Crazy, guys at KME Sharpeners, and Knife Guy. Thank you for your tutorials and everything that you've published online. I'll try to get back with another video sometime in the near future when I get my diamond paste, and maybe when I save up a little bit to get some more accessories for the system. Alright guys, have a good one. Stay sharp.